I'm going to ask Kathrine to go next to share about her time. She was in the Youth and Family Village because visioning was definitely a part of our village. You were introduced to visioning because of Reverend Joan, and it was Reverend Carol Traylor, who was a founding member of Agape again. And she was my coach, and I was a brand new practitioner. And we started off, me and this brand new ministry. It was like a baby. The result of it was using visioning. And Kathrine came along and tell us about your experience.
Well, when I came along, Reverend Jerry said, I'd like you to teach in the Youth and Family Village, and I'd like you to teach visioning. And I went, what is that? So I got a crash course in how to vision. And we saw it make a difference in a lot of things that went on in the Youth and Family Village. And one of them was there was a trip being planned to go to Africa.
Oh, yes.
And we wanted to do something significant so that we could leave something behind when we went to Africa and have something to remind us of Africa when they came back. And so through visioning, we came up with this idea of a tree, and then all the leaves would be handprints of the kids from both the Riverside Church and from the orphanage in Africa. And as far as I know, that is still hanging down in the village at the Riverside Church.
Yes.
And that all came about by visioning. And we were also through that, we also were able to raise enough money to send some teens to Africa. And
yes.
I know that many teens would go, oh no, we're visioning. And by the time I left the village to move on to my next calling, the kids were looking forward to it. And I missed that part of working with them. So I do it for my everyday life.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I have forgotten about that. And to add to that story, and she's not on the call. I wish she was on the call. We'll have to send a shout out to Cindy Long. She's a practitioner up in Northern California right now. I remember her. She was moved by what was happening in the world and what was happening primarily in Africa to these babies and these children that were impacted and HIV positive. And I remember her calling me, and she told me, Reverend Jerry, I want you to know that I'm going to start visioning about going to Africa and doing something for those kids. And her setting that intention and her visioning around that led to the work that you did and how you supported that. It's interesting, like the way Ray put it, I got some breadcrumbs, and those breadcrumbs spread all over the place. We can impact the world, and this is an excellent tool. I'm so glad that you brought that up. And not only is that painting, we think it's still over in Riverside in the Youth and Family Village. I believe that there is another one in another part of the world in Africa, Africa, and they're mirror prints from the work that came from it. And Kathrine was the one that orchestrated that whole thing. Wow, thank you for taking me down memory lane.